Hello students, this is Alternating Current lecture 2 and today we are going to discuss the behavior of resistance, the behavior of capacitance and the behavior of inductance, or you can say a resistor, capacitor or inductor when they are put across alternating voltage. Okay. So to start with, we have to think about first the concept of what you call it, phasor diagram. Okay, this phasor diagram is very important in order to understand the concept of alternating current. Now, what exactly is phasor diagram? Let us try to understand this. Phasor, this is O. Phasor diagram, as you see, it has something to deal with the phase. Now, when you say I is equal to I naught sine omega t, then this one is called the phase. And when you plot anything with respect to phase, we call that as a phasor diagram. So, what exactly is this? Phasor diagram means, let us say at any instant of time when the angle, this angle is equal to omega t, it will have some value of current I. It will have some value of current I. So this is like more or less like a vector, but we don't use the word vector because current is not a vector quantity. So we use a different word called phasor diagram, not a vector diagram. Okay. So this denotes, this arrow mark, the length of the arrow mark denotes the phase, the value of I when an angle is theta. And the theta value is omega t. In order to understand this very clearly, let us try to plot different values of phase in the one same diagram. Now just imagine when you put the time t as 0, what is the value of t equal, what is the value of omega t if t is 0? 0. And what is the value of sine 0? Sine 0 is 0. So what is the value of I? I will be equal to 0. So I will plot nothing. I will plot nothing over here. Okay. Now let us say that, so this is the value of t and this is the value of omega t. So when the value of t, let us say, is equal to t by 4, then the value of omega is 2 pi by capital T multiplied by small t is t by 4, so the value of omega t, this is the value of omega t and this is the value of t. So this will become, this gets cancelled out, this will become your pi by 2. Now what is sine pi by 2? Sine pi by 2 is sine pi by 2 is 1, sine 90 degree is 1. So when I plot omega t as pi by 2, I have to plot this over here. This is omega t is equal to pi by 2 at t equals to t by 4. And I will put an arrow mark over here. What does the arrow mark signify? The arrow mark signifies I naught. Okay. Let us take any other time interval, let us say called t by 8. So this will become 2 pi by t into t by 8 and that is equal to pi by 4. Pi by 4 is 45 degree and what is sine 45? Sine 45 is 1 by root 2. So what is I? I is equal to I naught by root 2. So if I consider any other angle, this will be less. The size of the arrow will be less compared to this. So this is I naught and this is I naught by root 2. And what is this angle? This angle is equal to pi by 4. That is the value of omega t here at time t equals to t by 8. So from 0, as the time increases, the current has becomes I naught by root 2 at time t equal to t by 8. Then the current has increased to I naught and then it starts decreasing. It starts decreasing as the angle increases. Again it becomes 0, then starts increasing in the fourth quadrant. It attains minus I naught over here and then again starts decreasing over here. So overall, if I see here, I'll get a beautiful graph like this. See, these are all I am plotting with respect to angle. At different instant of time. Oh, sorry. This will decrease, and then becomes. So and these are all at different instant of time, different instant of time. So these diagrams are called phasor diagram, but we don't draw beautiful diagrams like it. We don't draw like this. So when I jump into a conclusion of phasor diagram, remember I am drawing a phase angle, at given instant of time. Okay, so this is what we called as phasor diagram. At different time, we draw like this. Let's start. So we will first start with pure resistive circuit. Pure resistive circuit. So it has only one resistance, and this is my alternating supply of E equals to E naught, that is the EMF sine omega t. And let us say our current I flows through it. So if I have to find the potential drop over here, potential drop across R, then potential drop across R will be is equal to I times of R. And what is VR? The applied EMF is E naught sine omega t. The value of potential here is E naught sine omega t equals to I multiplied by R. So what is I? I will be equal to E naught by R multiplied by sine omega t. And what is E naught by R? This I can write as the peak current, I naught sine omega t, where I naught is equal to E naught by R. So what we have got? We have got a very interesting result. Now that E naught by R, I discuss on that. But let's try to plot what we call a phasor diagram right now, right away. So if I have to plot at any time t, let us say I want to plot at any time t the phasor diagram of this. Okay. At any time t, if this is my applied EMF E, let us say it makes an angle of omega t. This is angle. This angle is omega t. Allow me to write here. So the phase, when the phase has a value of, when the EMF has a phase of omega t, even the current will also have the same phase of omega t. Now you may be saying, what? It's obvious, correct? But things will change in the later duration. So right now just understand my wordings over here. When the EMF has a phase of omega t, the current also has a phase of omega t. So if I consider that this is my EMF E, then let us say that I consider this as my current I with the same phase. So I and E both are in the same phase. I could have drawn a I longer than E. That's not a big problem. See, that is where the I naught comes into the picture. Right now I am assuming that E naught by R is less than E naught. If I am assuming R to be more than 1 ohm, 2 ohm, 3 ohm, sorry. If R is 1, then I naught and E naught will have the same value. If R is 2, that means I naught will be less than E naught. That's because we are dividing it. So I am assuming that R is more than 1 ohm, which generally is more than 1 ohm. So in that case, my I naught peak value will be less. If I naught peak value is less, that means at any instant the current will be also less. If your R has a value less than 1, 0.1 ohm, 0.2 ohm, 0.3 ohm, in that case E naught by R will have a value more than E naught. Okay, in that case the arrow head of the I naught will be ahead of EMF. Okay, that's not a big deal. So this is called pure resistive circuit, and we make a conclusion here. We have to make a conclusion. What is the conclusion? Conclusion is in resistive circuit, current and EMF are in the same phase. Are in the same phase. moving ahead, things will start, you will start understanding slowly and slowly. Then we are going for pure capacitive circuit. This is my capacitor. Applied across alternating EMF of E. And E is equal to E naught sine omega t. So the phase is omega t. Let us say that across the capacitance the potential is Vc, where C stands for capacitance. The C refers to the capacitance, so voltage across the capacitance. Now the voltage across this and voltage across this will be same, so I can write Vc equals to E naught sine omega t. What is Vc? From capacitance knowledge, we know that Q equal to Cv formula. If I use, I can say that Vc is equal to Q by C, and that is equal to E naught sine omega t. This implies Q equals to E naught C times sine omega t. Now let us differentiate this. If I differentiate this dq by dt, if I differentiate this dq by dt, what will I get? I will get E naught is constant, C is constant, so we have to differentiate sine omega t. So E naught C, differentiation of sine omega t dt. Okay, this is dt. And what will I get this? Differentiation of sine omega t, those who have done with maths, they know it very carefully that the differentiation of sine omega t is cos omega t. So you will write here as E naught, so this is dq by dt. And what is dq by dt? I can write as dq by dt, I can write as current. That's the definition of current, correct? I equals to E naught C into omega. E naught C into omega, and then you will get this one as cos omega t. Okay. Allow me to write the same formula in this way. I want to write like this. I will tell you the reason why I want to write like this. Cos omega t. Now, can I write cos omega t as sine omega t plus pi by 2? Okay, I can write current I as E naught I by omega c sine omega t plus pi by 2. I can write like this, correct? What we have found so far? Now look at here. Now I will come back to my same statement. When E has a phase of omega t, current has a phase of omega t plus pi by 2. Okay? Understand in this manner. At t equal to 0, when EMF has a phase of 0, when t equal to 0, when EMF has a phase of 0, current has a phase of pi by 2. Because this term becomes 0, but still it has a phase. What does it mean? At time t equal to 0, when your EMF is 0, still you have a current in the circuit. Correct? That's the beauty of alternating current. And now this is where we are going to start. The actual alternating current starts now. That means I can say that current and EMF are not in the same phase.
they are not in the same phase. Means they are not changing similar. In a similar way they are not changing. Okay, they are changing in a different way. So one is changing in one way, other is changing in other way. So if I have to plot a phasor diagram at any instant of time t, at any time t, if I consider my EMF having a phase of omega t as EMF E, then my current will have a phase of omega t plus pi by 2. So it has omega t and then you have to add pi by 2 to it. This is pi by 2. And this is my current I. How to solve phasor diagram will come in the next lecture, but just right now you understand this phasor diagram. So when EMF is having a phase of omega t, the current has a phase of total phase of omega t plus pi by 2. That means from the EMF it is ahead by how much amount? By an amount of pi by 2. So from here till here, this whole thing for current is omega t plus pi by 2. But from here to here, it is the additional pi by 2 which you have to draw. And hence, we come with a famous statement in capacitive circuit. In capacitive circuit, current leads EMF or voltage, you can use the word, another word is voltage, by pi by 2. Don't use the symbol, use or. EMF or voltage by pi by 2. And another statement is, this also means one more thing. This also means, I will just write in a very brief way. Okay, this also means EMF or voltage lags current by pi by 2. So current is ahead of EMF, and the second statement is saying EMF is behind the current. Okay, both means the same thing. Coming back to this, remember what is this term? This term is I equals to E naught, and then I am writing this. That means if I use the, remember the Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. So what is I? I is equal to V divided by R. So anything in the denominator of voltage, when you are writing current as voltage by something, then anything in the denominator of the voltage refers to resistance. And that is the reason why I wrote in this manner. That means 1 by omega c. This I can write as XC. E naught XC sine omega t plus pi by 2. I'll come to XC. What is XC? Where XC is equal to 1 by omega c. And this now I can now further write as I naught sine omega t plus pi by 2. Now what exactly is XC? The XC which I am writing over here as 1 by omega c refers to a name called reactance, capacitive reactance. Capacitive reactance, REACTANCE, capacitive reactance. It means the net resistance offered by the capacitance to a alternating current. But we don't use the word resistance because resistance word is reserved for resistor. So we have to come up with a new word. So since capacitance is offering a net obstruction or net resistance to a alternating current, so the new name given to that is reactance. Okay, that new name is called reactance. Basically, it is the same concept of resistance, only offering of resistance. Okay, so XC equal to 1 by omega c. Here the important point which you have to note here is, remember omega is 2 pi f, 2 pi f or 2 pi by capital T. So XC is equal to 1 by 2 pi frequency times C. This is a very important result which says that XC is inversely proportional to F. What does it mean? It means as the frequency increases, the reactance offered by the capacitance decreases. So how does the graph? The graph is extremely important. This is XC and this is frequency. The graph is inversely proportional. Okay, this graph is extremely important. It's 1 by x theta. Okay, this is frequency. As the frequency increases, your xc decreases. What does it mean? More is the frequency. Remember what is more the frequency means? More the frequency means start from the generating station, power generating station. More the frequency means more faster it is rotating. More faster if it is rotating, more rapidly is the changing flux. If more rapidly is the changing flux, over here you are getting more amount of current, and the peak value of the current will be more. That means if my frequency is changing very fast over here, then the rate at which the charge will get developed will also happen very fast. Okay, so if you can see here, dq by dt over here is current, and the omega comes over here. So as the omega increases due to the frequency, my current is also increasing. So when omega increases, my current is increasing. Current increases if you compare this with the Ohm's law concept. Okay, current increases when resistance decreases, and hence the result, as the frequency increases, the capacitive reactance decreases because current is increasing. Okay, the graph is again very important. Now the last one is pure inductive circuit. Pure inductive circuit. So we are going to use an inductor over here, and I will run and that over here. In pure inductive circuit, let us consider that a current I flows, and this is your L, and the EMF induced across a inductor is given by L di by dt. That is the one which you can refer again if you have forgotten this in the chapter called self-inductance. So if I consider this to be plus minus, this will be also plus and minus. So if I start the Kirchhoff's law starting from here, then I am going from plus to minus, that is I am going downstream, so I will write here as L minus L di by dt. And when I am going from when I am crossing this, I am going from minus to plus, and I am going upstream, so you will write this as plus E naught E sine omega t, and that is equal to 0 when you come back over here. Or to cut it short, this equal to this, as simple as that. So you will write here as L di by dt equals to E, this is E naught sine omega t, and this will give me di, take this L here and dt over there, so E naught by L sine omega t dt. Now to get the current expression, I have to integrate this, and when I am integrating this, I will get E naught by L integral of sine omega t. So what is the integral of sine omega t? Integral of sine omega t is minus cos omega t. So I wrote the minus over here, and this is your cos omega t, and one omega comes in the denominator, and this has now become I. So I will be equal to minus E naught by L omega L, and this is your cos omega t. And now I can write minus cos omega t as this. So allow me to write, now this is already in the denominator. So allow me to write omega L as xl first. And then allow me to write minus cos omega t as sine omega t minus pi by 2. Okay? That's the mathematical trick I am using here. Where xl is equal to omega L, and it is referred as inductive reactance. Definitely it will have a graph now. If you can see, it is directly proportional. Directly proportional means it will have a graph which will be like this. Mark my word, I am saying that this is very important graph. The graph looks like this.
So to put L. This is frequency because omega I can write as 2 pi f into L. Okay, XL equal to omega L. XL equal to omega L, and therefore XL equal to 2 pi f into L, directly proportional. What does it mean? Right? Let's try to understand. As you increase the frequency, what is happening here? The frequency means what? It is completing more number of cycles in 1 second. Am I right? That means the current is fluctuating, or the current is changing its direction more frequently. So if the current is changing its direction more frequently, that means the magnetic field over here will change its direction more frequently. So the flux is changing more frequently. So the induced EMF will be also more in amount. It will try to oppose the cause. And if the cause is high, it will also try to oppose high. Okay? That means the resistance offered by the inductor is high now. Okay? Because it's trying to oppose the cause. So XL is inductive reactance. As I told you for the inductive capacitive reactance, and so I am saying the same thing. The inductive reactance, it means the resistance offered by the inductor or the obstructions offered by the inductor by to a alternating supply. Okay, so resistance offered by an inductor to alternating supply. We don't use the word resistance, reserved for resistance, so we use another word called reactance. Okay. Okay, this is the one which is important. Now come to the phasor diagram, the most important area. In the phasor diagram, again, let me repeat my statement. So, how much EMF was given to you? Please note it over here. You have to write this one over here. E is equal to E naught sine omega t. This was the E given to us. So, when the phase of EMF is omega t, the phase of current is omega t minus pi by 2. Same thing is happening. See. That means when EMF is equal to 0 at time t equal to 0, my current is not 0. Okay? The only difference if I compare this with capacitance, it was plus, now it is minus. So in phasor diagram, how it looks like? How it looks like in phasor diagram. So if I consider that this is my EMF E at any angle of omega t, then minus pi by 2. From the EMF you have to draw another angle of pi by 2 in the backward direction, and this is my current I. Okay. So this angle you can now write as omega t minus pi by 2. And this from here to here, just wait. From here to here is omega t, and from here to here is pi by 2. So how will you put that in a statement? In a statement you can write like this: in inductive circuit, current lags EMF or voltage by pi by 2. Current lags here. Or the other statement is EMF or voltage leads current by pi by 2. Okay? So I'll just give a summary to you now. And then we will, in the next lecture, we are going to see how do we tackle the phasor diagram to do calculations and all. So I will just give the summary what we have done in this class. We started with pure resistive. What we saw in pure resistive? We saw in pure resistive that the EMF and the current are in the same phase. Okay? In capacitive circuit, we saw that the current leads the EMF, and in inductive circuit we saw that current lags the EMF. All the other statements are also true. In capacitive, EMF lags the current, and in inductive, EMF leads the current. Okay? So this is a note over here for pure inductive circuit. Now, generally, how do I help my student to understand this? The way my teacher helped me to understand this, I also make sure that my students also get an idea of this by using a simple trick called civil. Okay, just remember, it's a very simple word called civil. See, forget about resistance. Resistance in resistive circuit, current and EMF are in the same phase. The confusion lies in the capacitive and inductive.
Here, in civil, you just encircle the first three. You first encircle the first three. In the first three, capacitive, inductive, potential. Capacitive, not inductive. Capacitive, current, and voltage. So in capacitor, the one which comes first, current leads voltage. The one which comes first is the lead. Current leads voltage. Current leads voltage. Okay, or EMF. Then you go to the VIL part, the second part, VIL. This is inductive, correct? Now start from here. This is inductive, start from here. Voltage leads current. Voltage leads current. So in capacitance, current leads voltage. In inductor, voltage leads current. Keep that in mind. The other statement you can automatically make. Okay. So with this, I conclude the second lecture, and we will see in the next. We will meet in the next class with the third lecture. Thank you.